Hey, my friends, this is Hilary from Dreammill Marketing. Thank you for joining me. Today, I am going to talk about things that you need to consider as a parent prior to sending your child overseas for studies. I have received several questions and requests from parents, and I think given some of the things that I've seen here in Canada, I would like to address this so that the parents are informed before making their decision on where to send their child or whether they should send their child overseas for studies. The first thing that you need to consider is tuition fee for international students is normally very expensive. In Canada in particular, international students typically pay 3 times the tuition that a Canadian would pay. And so you end up finding that a Canadian may be able to work and pay their tuition fee. I'll give you an example. My son pays around $4,000 per year in tuition, whereas an international student for the same course would pay around $16,000 per year. You can see that the tuition is quite expensive. The other things that you need to consider is the level of maturity of your child. Remember that some children have gone through boarding school back home. They have gone to international schools, or they have been going to day schools, coming home, and when they come home, there is somebody who has cooked for them, there is somebody who does laundry for them. So when they go outside the country, sometimes they get a shock because there is nobody to cook for them, there is nobody to do laundry for them, and this becomes a challenge, particularly if the child is not organized. As a parent, consider the level of maturity of your child. If your child does not know how to cook, please budget that your child will purchase food. Consider getting a meal card from the university, and therefore accommodation and meal costs will be higher for the people I assist. I give them a rough estimate of how much it costs depending on the school that they go to. The other thing that you need to consider is whether your child is self-disciplined or has self-regulation in terms of organizing their time, being able to study without somebody following them up. There are some students who have been receiving tutorials as they went through school, and therefore the schedules and also their performance has been closely monitored by the teachers and the parents. So when they come here, sometimes it becomes a challenge because they are not used to being independent, they are not used to self-regulation, and therefore they find that they are having a challenge keeping up with classwork and schoolwork. Just look at the discipline that your child has developed. The other thing that some parents assume is that their child is going to work and raise tuition fee or also their own pocket money. And it's a normal thing in North America for kids to work during their high school times. When it comes to self-regulations, these children have been able to juggle between schoolwork and work. They have managed so far. When they go to university, they are able to juggle also between working and going to school. However, when you consider children that are coming from developing countries, yes, sometimes they're excited, they want to get employed and they'll get jobs. The only challenge is that sometimes they may not know how to juggle between school and work, particularly if they have pressure from home because they do not have support from their parents. These children may end up falling through the cracks and not being able to keep up with their education because of the work commitment and the pressure to make money for accommodation, to pay tuition, and also to keep up with their friends. There are kids who come here with a lot of money and they have a different lifestyle, and so if you do not have the finances to support your child will end up having challenge keeping up with their education. The other thing that you need to consider is where whether your child has good money management. If your child is 18, 19 years old, most probably they have never handled a lot of money. And so when you send them to a country like Canada, where you're giving them money, and also when they come here, sometimes they get credit cards and they do not know how credit card works, and also they do not know how to manage their money. They end up probably getting into debt. They end up misusing their money. One of the most important things that I think a parent should do is to teach these children about budgets and how to handle money. Now, the last thing that I will talk about is a challenge in terms of keeping up with their education. Here, the professors, they would come and they would teach and give assignments. There is nobody who will check whether you have gone to class or not, or whether you have handed in your assignments or not. And the professors will not be there to follow you up as a student. And so the student needs to be able to self-regulate, do a proper time management so that they are able to do their schoolwork well and on time. As a parent, consider all these things before you spend your money, before you send your child overseas to go and study. Remember, if you need help to get into any of schools in Canada, in the US, or Ireland, or even Australia and the UK, we are able to help you apply and obtain admissions to schools in these countries. But always remember, you need to have enough money. There are very nice schools out here, but they are expensive. Bear that in mind. When you work with us, we'll give you an indication of how much fees is required so that you are adequately prepared. Thank you, and please subscribe to this YouTube channel so that we can help other people.